What's up, guys? Swift here, covering everything Chicago Bears. Teven Jenkins has been designated to return to practice, and Chase Claypool has been sent home. What is going on at Hallis Hall? Let's get right into it. I think Teven is a huge upgrade for our offensive line, but there's a major question mark to talk about before we get too excited about Teven being back. I think it's possible that Tev does not play on Thursday. Let me be clear, I really hope he plays, and I think our offensive line is much better with him on the field. That being said, considering he hasn't practiced fully in over a month, and we have no real practices between now and Thursday's game against Washington, I think Matt Eberflus might use this time to let Teven ramp back up and then be ready to go week 6 against the Vikings. The practices this week are just walkthroughs and preparations for the Commanders game. There won't be any real practicing with only 3 days of rest between games. I do think Teven Jenkins is in shape. He's been working with the conditioning team on the side of practice for the last 3+ weeks, and he practiced most of training camp. I'm holding out hope that he plays Thursday night, but I think we may need to temper expectations a bit. I expect Eberflus to play it safe here. I really hope I'm wrong here and that Teven Jenkins plays Thursday night, though. I can't wait to see him back on the field. I do think it's very possible this team gets a lot healthier after the mini bye week, though. Knock on wood. But after this 10-day break, we could potentially be getting back Teven Jenkins, Kyler Gordon, Eddie Jackson, and Jalen Johnson for the Minnesota Vikings in week 6. That will give those guys a full 10 days to get ramped up and ready to go. But now let's get to Chase Claypool and what's going on with this situation. The team has basically sent him home and told him to stay away. Eberflus talked about it today, and he said basically that they told Claypool he needs to stay home, and they told him to stay away this week as well, and they feel like it's best for the team. He says it comes down to evaluating players, and keeping Chase Claypool away from the football team is what's best.
What we think is best for the team and how we operate here as a football team.
He also added that it comes down to being on time, being respectful, and working hard. Let's listen.
When I came here day one, right, I talked about, being on time, being respectful and working hard.
Flus then added that Ryan Poles handles all trades and transactions. The media pressed Eberflus really hard on what is going on with Claypool, and he deflected all questions and just parroted the response that it's what's best for the team. The Chase Claypool situation is a mess. Fields said it best in his presser after the game. When asked if he feels this team is better with Claypool on the field, he said yes, the team is definitely better with one of its best weapons on offense. Justin then went a little bit deeper and said Chase has some maturity issues he needs to work on, and that he has talked to Chase privately about the matter multiple times. And then Cole Kmet added this. He said it's really hard. You haven't won a game in almost a year now. It hurts. It's hard to deal with, but we all have to be adults and be able to move on. There's more to the quote. It's from Josh Schrock. You can see it on Twitter. But basically what I took from it is Cole Kmet, who was teammates with Chase Claypool all the way back to Notre Dame, was kind of calling Claypool out for being immature about the situation. It's a disappointing situation for sure. I value talent, and Chase Claypool is simply dripping with freakish talent and athleticism. And him not being able to turn that into any kind of production as a Chicago Bear has been frustrating to watch. This seems like the end of the road for Claypool as a Bear, and if it is, it'll go down as Ryan Poles' first big miss. Trading a second-round pick for less than 1 year of Chase Claypool, and this team not getting a single win with him on the roster so far, is about as bad as the situation can get. Claypool will probably land with a better team and end up looking like a better player. Quite simply, though, we have an organization that never gets the most out of its players. Guys move on and go to better ran organizations and look better. Trevis Gibson beat Orlando Brown for a strip sack yesterday as a Titan. If we didn't need more evidence of the malpractice with this coaching staff, it's right there. Trevis Gibson, who these coaches deemed not good enough to play defensive end for the Chicago Bears, has the same amount of sacks and forced fumbles that our entire defense has after 4 games. Trevis did it in 1 play and has only played 10 total snaps. He beat highly paid free agent left tackle Orlando Brown around the edge and knocked the ball out of Joe Burrow's hand. I don't even know what else to say, but I did want to talk about this brief point about Trevis Gibson, the coaching staff, and Ryan Poles. A lot of people are putting the blame on Trevis Gibson getting cut on Ryan Poles. He is the GM, so he has the final say on the roster, right? But let's think about this logically here. The coaches did not want Trevis Gibson. They listed him at the very bottom of the depth chart. Then in press conferences, both Matt Eberflus and our former defensive coordinator, Alan Williams, questioned Trevis's ability to set the edge and his fit for Eberflus's scheme. It was clear to me that these coaches didn't value what Trevis Gibson or even Terrell Lewis brought to the table. So that put Ryan Poles in a tough position. If he keeps Trevis Gibson over Rasheem Green, who the coaches clearly prefer, that is going to piss off the coaching staff. On top of that, with the coaches having Trevis Gibson listed last on the depth chart, let's play hypotheticals for a minute. Even if Ryan Poles kept him on the roster going into week 1, most likely the coaches would have had him inactive, and then you have a very, very unhappy Trevis Gibson in the locker room. So Ryan Poles was in a tough position. I don't think you can blame him for cutting Trevis Gibson. He tried to trade him, but teams knew they could wait for the Bears to cut him. His choice was either listen to the coaches and try to get some value from Trevis Gibson in a trade, or you cut the guy the coaches prefer and you piss off both Trevis Gibson and the coaching staff. Yeah, there's no way I'm putting that on Ryan Poles. Sorry, guys. That's Matt Eberflus and Alan Williams and their preferences for guys who can set the edge, and they prefer that over the guys who can get after quarterbacks. I don't understand it, and I don't understand a lot of what this coaching staff does anymore. I think it's time for all of us in Chicago to question these coaches. Matt Eberflus is 3-18 as head coach of the Chicago Bears. He is currently on a 14-game losing streak and set an NFL record by giving up more than 25 points a game in 14 straight losses. No team in NFL history has ever done that, and this guy is supposed to be a defensive guru. These are the guys he wanted in order to run his scheme. And quite simply, so far his scheme is just awful. And it's not all Justin Fields' fault. He played so much better yesterday. If it wasn't for his interception, he would have had a perfect quarterback rating. He played well enough for us to win that game by 2 touchdowns. He never should have been in a situation to have to try and bring us back. Stay tuned, guys. Please remember to hit that like button for me. And until next time, bear down.